I just want to put in a shout out for the Airbus A320 that was flown by Germanwings that was crashed by Andreas Lubitz yesterday in what has, the day before yesterday, and what has become an act that can only be described as horrible and horrifying. But the Airbus A320 has been a consistent workhorse since its creation some 28 years ago as a kind of answer to the DC-10, which had three engines. DC was the McDonnell Douglas, and McDonnell Douglas was later acquired by Boeing. But during the time that the Airbus A320 and its younger brother, the A319, were developed, there was a kind of a rush to build these wide bodies that were smaller than the 747 and therefore more fuel efficient, capable of medium haul routes, like going from Chicago to San Francisco, for example. And the Airbus came from the the European Union's consortium, Airbus, and was the first really successful, wildly successful aircraft model created by Airbus. It spread like wildfire. It was because if you think about the lineage of these Airbuses. In fact, the Airbus, as it's called, wasn't the first Airbus. The first Airbus was the Lockheed L-1011, closely followed by the DC-10, and then the Airbus family came along after that. But the original Airbuses were three-engine airplanes that had the third engine at the top, at the tail section of the fuselage. But the Airbus model A319, A320 just had the two engines. Now, as Airbus was developing its two-engine Airbus, Boeing was developing the American answer, the 767. And its younger brother, or smaller brother, I should say, the 777 is the larger brother. So let me rephrase that. Boeing was developing the 777 series, and its smaller brother, the 767. Boeing called the series in total the 7X7 series. So, for example, X could be filled in by anything. 747 is actually the larger plane that you've come to know and love for so many years. The 727 was a smaller three-engine version, much like the larger DC-10 and L-1011. And of course, the 737 is now a next-generation model that has served as a kind of non-Airbus without the wide body. And the 757 is a longer version. It's like the modern 707, for those of you who can remember that back that far in terms of aviation history. And the 767 and the 777 are both, well, depending on the configuration, and as you like, either 8 across, well, 4 in the middle, excuse me, not 8 across, but 7 across, 3 in the middle, 2 on either side, 7 across configuration wide bodies. And now we have the 787, which I have yet to flown on. I will get there next. But the bottom line is the European Airbus industry's Airbus A319, A320 are among the most reliable planes ever built and in operation. So you should not hear the name Airbus A320 and cower and think, oh my goodness, this is horrible and I'm going to have a lousy flight. No, not at all. Quite the contrary. The Airbus A320 is one of the finest airplanes ever built.